Welcome to episode 17 of our AI GTM Talks series. My name is Mani Iyer. Pleased to welcome Rabia Thakur. She is the head of products for Kwanzu. Rabia, how are you?
Hi, Mani. Hi, everyone. I'm good.
Yeah. Thanks, Rabia. So, folks, I wanted to share with you all a little bit, provide a bit of context and overview to today's AI GTM Talk session. Before I do that, just put up the next slide here. Tell you who we are. As I said, at Kwanzu, we've been running the series of talks. We kicked it off early this year. We are on episode 17 now. And what we've been doing is bringing on senior seasoned, either AI GTM tech CEOs, doing a deep dive into their product or tech, or it's been AI GTM revenue leaders who've been transforming their companies or organizations using AI. Also, some very seasoned practitioners, and fractionals, and you'll see some of them also in our talk series. Now, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our upcoming talks. One of them is going to be next week. We have Vijay Damoji Purapu. He's going to talk about how he's completely, changed the way he does a lot of the fractional work he does, and he's scaling his solo fractional business using AI tools. We have Chintu Parekh, who's a CMO at NOps. He's going to come on, and I was very impressed with Chintu in terms of his deep insight and knowledge around AI for go-to-market. And then following Chintu, we have Katie Srinivasan. She's going to be coming on. We're super excited to have her, and so you'll be hearing more about these upcoming talks in the coming weeks. Now, what are we talking about today? So we've come up with a few key topics we wanted to hit today, all around signal-based outbound. First up, we wanted to share with you all a little bit around how we are working with a number of our customers around planning, budgeting, and executing AI GTM signal-based outbound automation programs for our customers. So that's one area, if you will, that we want to cover today. The second is really, we are super excited because I know, Rabia, you guys have been working really hard, and we have a new product release around something we're calling AI Playmaker. And so we really wanted to showcase it to you guys. We'll do a deep dive demo. You'll get about 10, a good solid 8-10 minutes or so. A really interesting look at where the market is, where things are headed, and what we see as kind of the evolution of signal-based outbound. So with that, I'm going to run you guys through a few slides, and then I think then, Rabia, we're going to get into the demo, right?
Sure. Yes.
So let's do that. So I'm going to switch over from this screen share into a different one, which is this one right here. Based outbound, share. So hopefully this is coming through. Okay, there we go. So I think where we wanted to tee things up, folks, is what we wanted to really talk about. If you wanted to unlock signal-based outbound for your company, here's how we see the problems that typically we see customers are trying to deal with. One is you might have a revenue leader, a CMO, a head of growth, a demand gen, or you might even have, in a smaller organization, it could be the CEO and founder. They're like, I know I wanted to run a bunch of these plays, go-to-market plays to attract and prospects and bring them in. They want to scale, but they don't have the time to learn some of these newer tools, be it the Clay, or they don't want to necessarily add full-time staff in-house. And they don't want to wait on the RevOps team because maybe they're backed up. So turning strategy into plays is a big problem for leaders, revenue leaders, and growth leaders. The second is what we call the needle in the haystack problem. The problem with a lot of the traditional ABM tools and visitor ID tools is they at a company level, who's engaging on your website or who you should go try to pursue based on offsite intent. Not good enough. A lot of new data is available, new tech is available, where at a person level, you're now able to figure out who these people are that you should pursue on your website, off your website, through social channels, and much more. So that's what's changed. Third is really around, we call it the signal stacking, signal prioritization problem, because you may have multiple signals if you want to, reach somebody. But then how do you prioritize among all the companies who are showing signals, all the people who are showing signals? That's a who's buying right now problem. And the last is what we call the what should I say problem, which is where you need to have the right set of messages that you craft and send to with one-to-one personalization. But then it has to make sense. It has to sound authentic. It is not call it AI for AI's sake. And that again would be understanding a lot of the buyer behavioral data. So I think the next step we wanted to really was to kind of set the stage a little bit, at least share our perspective on how we see the signal-based outbound tech landscape today. So from our perspective, if you look at ease of use, so that's where you want to have tools that can be used directly by you as a growth marketer or a revenue leader. And then you have certain tools that really end up being within the purview. It's a little more, a kind of a spreadsheet type of interface, might be a little bit more of an analytical, technical type of tool. So it ends up being in the purview of maybe GTM engineers, RevOps people, and so forth. So that's one way to, think about these tools. The other way, in our view, to think about these tools is really um, where do these tools help your inside sales SDR, BDR organization and on into your sales organization, and even your marketing team in terms of making certain decisions around where to focus your limited budget, whatever precious budget in terms of marketing awareness creation, is really how deep do the signals go? Are you getting signals just at a company level? Are you getting signals at an individual or person level? Are the signals kind of, and the way you can build certain segments around the signals, are they static or can you build more what we call dynamic segments? So that's why you see, as you go up here on the y-axis, we've tried to lay out different tools that, in our view, are positioned a little bit differently in the kinds of maturity of signals, the quality of signals, the scale of signals, and the number of key signals that they're able to deliver. And clearly, we're trying to be straight up with you folks. We are trying to be best in class, best in quality for a few key signals that we know for a fact are not natively available in a tool like a Clay, and they will tell you that. You have to have an external webhook into their tool to kind of have certain signals like the one we'll talk about that you can operationalize through Clay. Or we believe our signal quality is even higher, even if it may also be available, like some of them are, say in something like a common room. Now, on the other hand, you'll see we have certain signals that are very unique signals. One we're super excited about, we launched it last week. We call it CRM contact monitoring. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then, last but not least, besides our tech, our other key learning, if you look back at the last few months for us, has been many customers want us as the guys who are, quote, the guys who've been doing this for a while, maybe know it a little bit better, want us to come in and help you all run these GTM outbound plays. Basically, soup to nuts, take care of everything. That's what we're doing with our new AI GTM on-demand service offering. And there, what we do is we actually incorporate some of these other tools. So where we don't have certain native signals, we'll bring in some of these other tools and kind of help you run those. So with that, let me just go to walk you guys through a few quick slides. And then, as I said, very quickly, we'll get into the demo. So let's look at this. So these are the native signals from us. One is website warm leads, where you can de-anonymize site visitors down to the person, even people who've never filled out a form. Works for the US. For international markets, we can do at a company level. That's table stakes. A lot of people do it. So that's the account intelligence piece that you see down there. The second thing we do, which is actually quite unique, there's probably asked, maybe there's one other company we've heard about that can give you these offsite intent leads at a person level, right? Which is based on topics of interest. Who's researching products like yours? We have a taxonomy of some 23,000 topics, and we can go and actually help you source person-level leads all across the web, across those set of sites where we actually are tracking engagement. who's clicking on certain ads on certain topics, who's consuming content on certain topics. And then, as I said, CRM contact monitoring is again super, super interesting. We can take literally 10,000 of your best contacts, we can load it into our system, and then we can basically set it up so that you can monitor them for showing buyer behavior around your topics of interest. Very unique product, not widely available, something I think you're going to love, and we'll get into that in a bit. Now, anytime you need other signals, like as you see here, social, role change, funding events, and so forth, we in fact partner. So that's where we would recommend, we actually, when we do these service engagements with customers, we bring in something like an instance of clay, and we fill in the blanks with some missing signals that you might need. And then we do all the integration and the workflow setup and so forth. And Rabia is going to showcase to you how we made it super, super easy to plug some of these tools together with all the ways you would want to plug them together. So I think from here, let me quickly then, um, I'm going to just zoom through some of these. This is the website warm lead capability we talked about, the offsite intent lead capability we talked about, based on topics of interest. We can find you these buyers all across the web. And by the way, this is for the US. And then the account intelligence, which is global in scope. It works across all major global geos. And the idea is all of these signals are being, and then here's CRM contact monitoring, which is continuously monitoring those key contacts to see if they are showing any buying signals across the web. So now, this is what we really want to cover today, which is something we've been building called the AI Playmaker. What this is if you think about it, there are all these different signals, and you as a growth marketer, demand marketer, revenue leader are trying to figure out, okay, how can I just use simple English language prompts and quickly build a segment of maybe 30, 50, 100 key contacts that are leads, website warm leads or offsite intent leads or accounts that fit within that particular set of rules that you have thought about. We're making that real easy for you, which Rabia is going to show you. And then the next thing you'll want to do is, okay, now I have these key contacts which fall into a segment. Can these be dynamic? Can I set it up once and then tomorrow, if fresh leads come in, which are warm leads on your website, I have a warm leads based segment, which is a dynamic segment. Fresh leads pop in here, they pop out of the segment over into other tools like a Clay, like maybe your HubSpot, like wherever it needs to go. And the idea is then to be able to action it further. Maybe connect it into your email delivery tool, your LinkedIn sequencing, or into your phone scripting sequence that you might have set up for your SDR to do their calling. That's what AI Playmaker is at a high level. But now let's do a deeper dive. And so, Rabia, the floor is yours. Let's show people what we've built out with the AI Playmaker. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Mani. So I will quickly share my screen. Okay, so we talked about, Mani talked about the Quanzu native signals. So you see all of these signals are available in the Quanzu's signal hub here. So the main issue which the marketers are facing, how to action these leads. So you have these leads lying in the signals hub. They have to manually check. They have to manually, segment it out. Which of these leads are, they belong to a particular segment. So we are making it super easy with our AI Playmaker. So I'll quickly go into the AI Playmaker. So you could create certain segments based on your rules you have thought about for a particular campaign. So say, for example, you want to fetch buys from your ICP, say from a particular industry, which is financial services in this case, and you want offsite intent leads for a particular topic, and also you want to include companies with 100 plus million plus revenue. So you set up this prompt with simple English language, whatever language you would want to write a prompt in, you can write, and it will help you segment the leads from the signals hub. If you quickly want to check whether this prompt is working based on what you thought about, we also give you a query-based interface, and it will help you quickly check, okay, you have set what industries, topics, and revenue, and so on. So once you go into the prompt, you will get a data for this one, and you can review whether whatever you thought about it's working or not. You could create a dynamic and static segment, which Mani talked about. So whenever some new leads pop up based on this criteria, this rule, it automatically goes into that segment. Let's talk about delivery first. So then you could set up certain delivery ways. You have created a segment now, and you would want to set up, say, a notification to Slack. So quickly connect to your Slack channel here, and you can receive notifications on your Slack when new leads get added into that segment. So you can see a message here, which will pop up on your Slack channel when new leads are added. You can connect to Clay. So you have it's very straightforward connection. You just need to enter the webhook URL of the table. We are also giving you an option to set up the delivery frequency. You can set up as 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours. Then we are also giving here an option of a sample JSON. So you just need to check which all fields attributes are there for the leads, and then you can test the record that you are sending once the connection is made. So I'll quickly show you here. This is what we have created a dynamic segment and the data with all the attributes that show up, and dynamically this table gets populated when the new leads come in as per the rule that you have set. So say
Yeah, so I
what.
think, Rabia, here it might be interesting to explain. In the earlier screen, you had something called a toggle, right? For limited profile, they say map it to full profile. Can you explain to folks what we mean by limited profile leads and full profile leads?
Sure, absolutely. So for our leads, we have two options. So we have a limited profile for B2B, B2C leads, and full profiles. In case you opt for limited profiles, so the leads come with work email and LinkedIn URL, and say the most recently visited URL. In case you switch to full profiles, they come with the full buyer journey, all the pages that are visited, along with their mobile numbers as well. So, in case your Signals Hub it is set up in a way that you are only capturing the limited profiles, so when you create a segment and you know that these leads you are going to action, sending emails or through other campaigns, so here you have an option to convert to full profiles. So you can enable this toggle. So whatever leads get written or delivered to Clay or webhook through this segment, they'll get converted into full profiles with complete information about their mobile number and their complete buyer journey as well.
So I think, Rabia, the key point here is that we give people the ability to first collect limited profile leads, and then set
Yes.
some filters within the Signals Hub to say that, okay, these are our profile fit leads that fit our ICP, our persona title criteria, put a box around it and say, okay, these are the leads I'm really going to action on the with for the downstream processing. And so now they can save on the cost of unnecessarily converting some of these or adding more data points. And so the limited profile lead is 1 credit, the full profile lead is a few more credits. So this is a way for them to save on the call it the credits, and put their credits to best use. Is that right?
Right. Yes. So the ones that they absolutely need, see that they fit their criteria. Only
Right.
those they can choose to convert to full profiles, and the
Right.
rest of it can be limited.
All right. Let's keep going. Thank you.
So I'll quickly walk you through the data that we write then. We have the date, so we have the type of segment, name of the segment. We have different type of lead here. You can see website lead or intent lead. Based on the segment, you could set, say, for example, in the segment, if you have only set criteria for intent lead, then you'll get the data based on that. So my segment was a combination of both. So we are getting all the leads here. Further, we have split up on the lead type as well, which we have in the form of B2B or B2C leads. So B2B leads, they come with work email, company information, title information, and so on. And B2C are the ones which could not be converted into B2B through our data partners, but we have other personal information on them, like their personal email, their personal mobile number, and other personal attributes.
So Rabia, I just want to jump in here for a second and tell folks that where we say website warm lead, obviously this is on your own website. These are leads that we picked up over there. And the what you're calling intent lead is really the offsite intent lead, which is based on topics of interest. We grab those leads based on whatever is your product solution area. You kind of define them as a topic of interest. We brought leads in for those, correct? And
Yes.
I think the other point I wanted to make was um, really the notion of B2B lead versus B2C. And we give people the ability to pick and choose. I only want the B2B leads. I only want the B2C leads. I only want the plain email leads. And the key point here is for folks, think of it as this is now one piece of tech that can do both B2B and B2C, and you get to choose. You may have one part of your business where you need the B2B, another part of the business you need the B2B2C. And it's all there in one tech, one tool, one signal hub. Rabia, over to you.
Sure. And uh, just quickly browsing through, we have work email, we have their deliverability score as well, whether it's deliverable 60, 80, or 100. 100 is the highest score. And then we have company information. Profile fit, we do have in our Signals Hub an option to set certain criteria on firmographics, ICP, personas, and so on. Based on that, we tag the leads as profile fit or not a fit. So based on your segment, you can choose to just send profile fit leads or a combination of both. So here we see, like Mani talked about the intent leads. So we have the list of topics which these leads have been researching throughout the web with their intent score high. Then we have titles, department seniority, and so on.
So
Yes.
I wanted to make a quick little comment on some of those names, folks. You are seeing there. Obviously, these are all our friends across the industry. These are other tech and tool providers, who do similar signal-based tech. So we were just, using our own offsite intent signaling to see what our complementary tech providers offering, or in some ways, some things we can layer on. For example, we have many customers using Quanzu with the demand base, with the 6sense. Interestingly enough, we also have customers using us with an RB2B. The person level leads that RB2B generates is different from the person level leads we generate. So so we found that it's interesting for us to be able to know, are people out there researching some of these products, technologies, some other brands, so that way we know whether we should be having a conversation with them. So just a quick point, but Rabia, back to you.
Going back to the AI Playmaker, so I was just quickly showing you the table that we created in Clay. We could also connect through a webhook to other third-party applications. So just a quick webhook URL you need to add here. And again, the same options, you could convert it to full profiles, try a test message, try a test record, and see whether your connection is working. And we do have a sample as well here. I will quickly go back to the initial configuration and we'll talk about the buying group expansion. So this is one option that we have in our AI Playmaker. So if you enable this, you could upload the list of your buying group, your titles that are relevant to your business that you would want to go after. Now, in our Signals Hub, we have intent leads and website warm lead, which could be one lead in a particular account, and it may not be enough to reach out to that person only. So then you would want to include other titles from the same company, that target company, and you just upload the list of titles that you would want to go after. And what we'll do is we'll give you all the relevant contacts from that account, and that will also be combined with the segment and will be pushed into your relevant delivery channels. So that ways you don't just reach out to one person, but also to the entire buying group for that account. Um, and along with that, we do have some predefined prompts. You could quickly select these prompts and copy them, edit them, make it up to your requirement how you want to use those. Then I'll quickly go here, and we have created these plays here. And here also we can just view what all data is there in the segment. And of course, then we can write these segments back into different channels.
Okay, that's awesome, Rabia. Does that, I think that pretty much covers it. Does a
Right.
playmaker?
Yes.
All right. So, folks, that was the latest release of our AI Playmaker, and so let's continue now. I think we want to switch over and start showing you folks a little bit about Um, the next step for us would be we wanted to kind of walk you through some of the service capabilities that we offer today, and how that how that's been working for some of our customers. So let me kind of share my screen again, real quick. So this is kind of how we've been now supporting many of our customers, building out these signal-based GTM plays. So as you can see here, it ends up being recommending certain other tools to plug into the Quanzu signal-based, say, automation hub, the signals hub that you just saw. So you would have all these signals that we collect feed into another tool like Clay. You may have additional signals that get picked up there, be a role change signal, funding event signal. And then you have these multi-touch email sequences, LinkedIn sequences, even phone calling scripts and so on that can be set up over there in certain Clay tables as different columns. And then we end up having further messaging going from there, and these kind of curated segments flowing from there into certain tools like you see here, automated sequences, be it instantly, smart lead, some of these others could be a hey reach, and then you can of course have some of the other tools you might already be using, be it an Apollo, and some of these others that we can also connect into through webhooks. So a combination of, you can go native Quanzu into those tools. Maybe you choose not to use Clay initially, or if you do plug in Clay, then you can of course route the entire workflow through Clay over to these other tools. I thought next step, Rabia, people may find interesting is just how we go about executing, the programs that we run. So I'm going to just walk them through a few quick slides on that. So I think on that front, what I wanted to show was really next up. These are the complete set of kind of deliverables, just to give you all a quick peek at some of the things we do, from ICP discovery, data gap analysis, some of the list building type of stuff, understanding all the different kind of buying signals, deciding and prioritizing, helping customers prioritize between different kinds of signals, and then laying out a game plan by month, by quarter, and figuring out some goals, if you will, for multi-channel campaigns that they can execute. Some the tech and tooling, the budgeting, the data sourcing, and I think beyond that, I would say next up that could be interesting is really we have also recently built out a complete, comprehensive budget, performance metrics, ROI measurement type of modeler tool that we are now actively using with customers. Typically, this comes into play right at the start of the engagement. We kind of really do a deep dive discussion with the customer, lay out the game plan that they want to get in place for where they are, what's their baseline, where do they want to get to in kind of over say a 3 month time frame, and then literally lay out goals by goals by week, goals by month, and then we kind of start executing to that, and then run a series of experiments, regular experiments. And to just give you all a quick feel for what a little bit more detail on some of the responsibilities, if you will, on our side, the client side, and so forth, I'm just going to bring up this one other presentation, so you all get to see this. And so here it's about just laying out the services, the folks, what folks are going to get, and then it's really, if I were to just zoom through it real quick, what we cover is we already talked about this, the onboarding process, resource requirements, time commitment. What are we going to be spending in terms of the time needed to get you all up and running? Typically within 2 weeks, we will have some of the first signal-based outbound campaigns off and running. Creative assets, any requirements from the customer side in terms of content creation, messaging development, assistance we need from the client in terms of approval of email template, email sequences, LinkedIn outreach messages, call scripts, some costing related stuff. We laid all out for you in terms of what the cost can be for the Quanzu GTM tech, what's the cost going to be for the services fee. By the way, it's a fixed monthly fee over different duration and terms, and then the third party tech that we need to go with our tech so that you get a full solution. And so it's all completely laid out for you. What happens weeks 1 and 2? month one, month two, month three, post POC. And then how do we go about rank ordering and prioritizing among all these different kinds of signals? What are high intent signals that we typically try to operationalize as quickly as possible? What are some moderate intent signals? How do you prioritize among different types of signals? How do you have some maybe always on sequences running for some low intent but then interesting signals? Roles and responsibilities, we kind of are try to be very clear about what is it that we are looking for from the customer team to make this whole program a success. What would we do as our GTM services team? What do we do as the tech team that's building out our tech that supports the entire effort? And then, as we already covered, the modeler. And then, of course, this is something, again, we would agree on pretty early on, uh, right at the start of the engagement. Once we have a deeper understanding of your business, once we have a deeper understanding of your baselines, on and on. So I think, Rabia, that is the services component I wanted to cover real quick. And let's then check and see. We can quickly take some questions if folks have any, or we can have a quick 2-minute discussion here.
Yeah.
So let's see real quick. Anybody have any questions? We're happy to take it now, or we'll just get into a kind of talk about next steps from here. Anybody? So Rabia, why don't we do this before we wrap up? Maybe why don't we talk about what's coming next? I think I'm pretty excited. We've certainly done the website warm leads component. We have the offsite intent leads. We have CRM contact monitoring, which is the third thing.
Right.
And then we have these different signals we're starting to deploy among customers. What's next in the queue that, from the product standpoint, that you're starting to look at, Rabia, for us to build out?
Um, One quick thing that we would like to build now, like we are trying to expand the signals further, include more social signals as well into the platform.
Mhm.
Along with the leads, you'll be able to see, okay, what are the role changes, job changes, if someone has social signals, including, say, someone has liked a post on LinkedIn or commented on some posts. So, along with the buyer journey, this information will be quite useful to for the marketers as well.
Got it. Got it. So social signal is next. So I think that's really, as you said, a key focus area. And then I'm sure we can talk about more in upcoming episodes. I would say the last thing probably is I think CRM contact monitoring seems to be a big area of interest for people. I know we can do both standard topics, the taxonomy we already have, and
Yes.
then there's also custom topics. Can you speak about custom topics for CRM contact monitoring and what that is and how that works?
Sure. So we do have our taxonomy of say 21,000 topics, and users can go, marketers can go and select the topics of their choice. But in case they don't find or they want to include certain topics which are not part of the taxonomy, they just put in a request, and within 48 hours, those are being actioned, and we could start getting the intent leads for those custom topics as well.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So I think why don't we then let Rabia, how can people get in touch with us? I think you're available, we're available. So certainly they can write to us at info@quanzu.com, customer success at quanzu.com. And then, of course, folks, I'm just putting up my LinkedIn information. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions for us. Happy to help you, support you. We did want to mention that this month we have a special where we are actually a special promo where we are actually setting people up for CRM contact monitoring, which is typically on our scale up plan, but we're offering it on the growth plan. So significant budgetary savings for you to test it out for 90 days. So long as you kick off a free trial, try out the product, make sure you like the data, and then you can step up to the growth plan and then also get CRM contact monitoring. So that's it, folks. Hopefully this was useful. Thank you for joining us. We will see you again next week for another episode of AI GTM Talks. Thank you.